What's up, everyone? It's Matt Mrozik, aka MVM397, and I couldn't help myself. I started working on Thor. So this past weekend, I was able to put a lot of time in on my Yag Dog and Punisher commission. Got those all cleaned in primer. So as I do, I'll take a little break, and I wanted to kind of work on Thor a little bit. So one of the main issues. Hold on, I'll be right back. I have to let my dog out. All right, sorry about that. I got interrupted by my dog. So if you watched the unboxing video last night, and I kind of dry fitted him together, and for the most part, he fits together really, really good. I mentioned another builder building the same kit, and he had some he had some fitting issues, between the legs and the thighs after he got it on the base, and I didn't have those issues. So initially I thought I was going to have to epoxy the legs into the torso, because once the cape's on, if you saw that video, it's huge and it weighs a lot. So it wants to put a lot of, let me take this arm off. It wants to put a lot of pressure, going back. So there was, a gap here and a gap here. But so I thought I'd try magnets, and if that didn't work, all I would do was epoxy the legs into place later. But these magnets that I have in here, I think are going to do the trick. Now, they're a little messy looking, so don't look at that, especially this one, because I made it the boo-boo of actually putting in a magnet in the wrong way. The polarity was backwards, so I had to kind of dig it out and put it up. But I'm going to clean it up with Aves when I'm done. So this was the main one right here that was pulling apart right here because of the cape. But now, and I have to pull really hard on this to get it off. What I've done is I've stacked magnets in the peg and within the thigh. Now you'll notice that these are recessed a little bit and these are sticking up a little bit, and I did that on purpose, and I'm going to show you how I do that on the arm. It's a slightly different process than I do on other kits, but it's a good way to kind of make sure that when they go in, everything stays aligned, because you really want the magnets to really sit centered. You don't want them off centered a little bit, because they lose some of their strength if you do that, and they'll want to have a tendency to pull themselves into center, especially with the ones I'm using right now. These are 1/2 inch diameter by 1/4 inch thick, and they're strong. So when you put magnets together, they're strongest when they're lined up like this. They lose weakness if if they're off centered a little bit. So if I have let's pretend I've been stacking on the legs. I stacked them because I needed the extra strength. On the arms, I don't have to. Let's pretend that this is the female end of the joint, and this is the male end. If they're off centered a little bit like this, see, it's going to focus. Come on, camera. It's going to want to pull itself to center. So ideally your magnets are perfectly lined up and they sit flat against each other. So that's another reason that this is a little messy at first, because the way I do it, the holes I make a little bit bigger, so there's some wiggle room in there, so when I glue them in, they will align. So in here I actually have 4 magnets. There's 2 stacked here and 2 stacked there, and then within here there's 4. There's 2 and 2. So I've got just in this one joint I have 8 magnets, and these are very strong. So it goes in there, and once it's in there, it is a tight fit. Those magnets are touching. So, and you want the magnets you really want the magnets touching. You don't want any space between them. So that's why these are recessed a little bit and those are sticking up a little bit. And I'm going to show you why that is in just a second, or why I do that, how I do that. So I got that one in, and then this is the one I screwed up just a little while ago. I put the, again, strong magnets. What I had done is I put the magnet in this side first, which was really stupid. So you see where I had to kind of dig it out and redo it. No big deal. I'm going to clean this up with A's, but this has been glued in now. But since I have so many magnets on this side, I needed this magnet in a certain way so that the polarity would pull the magnet in. So what I did is I put it in the leg first, and then when I went to go put the magnet in here, I realized, oops, the polarity is backwards, and it was wanting to push out. So dug this one out, changed the polarity, and I played with doing some pinning too. You can see my holes here where I played with some pinning decided that I didn't want to do that, so I went back to the magnets. So yeah, so the joint's a little messy, and this is for me, it's not for a client. So if it was for a client, I'd be a little more cautious about what this looks like, just because it's it's a nice finished presentation. It looks like you know what you're doing when you see that. When you see stuff like this, it's like, oh, this guy has no clue what he's doing. Why did I have him paint my model for him? So this is just me kind of experimenting and screwing up, which I do a lot. But so I decided against the pinning. I decided that the magnet was the best way to go. So in here I have, I think I have 3 magnets in here. So basically I drilled down until I touched the other 2 from this joint. And now, so what's happening is I've got a lot of pulling power, and everything's pulling towards the center. So I have magnets going this way, pulling that way, and these are pulling that way. So once everything's together, all it does is it compounds that strength. And now this is like solid. I mean, there's no wiggle, no gap. It's really, really done well. This should have no problem supporting that cape once it's on. If it does, if I put the cape on and I see that there's a little gap here and it's bugging me, I'll simply epoxy the legs into place, and the magnets will, between the magnets and the epoxy, that'll be fine. But there's a lot of money in the magnets right now. There's about $30 worth of magnets right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I did this on one of the arms. And since it's a big kit and it's an expensive kit, I'm going to stick with the big 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch magnets, just so I'm sure that nothing falls apart. So we're going to do this arm up here that sticks up in the air, and it's right here. And for the head, I probably won't even use a magnet for the head. It sits in there perfectly. There's a huge key, and it sits in there very nicely. So the head, I'm not going to do a magnet. It's just going to slide in. Let's see. So this arm is this one. It goes up over his head like that. So the fit's perfect. There's no gap. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to mark the center of this. And it's not absolutely necessary that it's perfectly centered, but again, it just looks better. You know, this presentation. So it's pretty simple. I'm just going to mark. I'm going to draw a line down this, mark an X in the middle. And for the arms, I'll probably just do, I'm not sure if I'll do like 2 and 2 or just 1 and 1. I don't think I'll need a lot of holding power because these aren't holding any weight really. So I actually need to get this on a clamp so I can work with it. I need a second pair of hands. So I just got a straight ruler here, straight edge. We're just going to mark the center. We're going to get close. I'm not going to be worried if it's perfect. Okay. So the center marked right there. And now what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go in there and drill a 1/2 inch hole right away. It's pulling. What happened is it would tear out the resin and just make a terrible mess. So I'm going to start out with a smaller hole. I'll start out with something like a 3/16, and then I'll work my way up to a 1/2 inch. So it doesn't matter what size you start with. That's just it's a good size. And when I drill these, I don't go in real fast because the drill tends to wobble a little bit. So I just go in real slow. And actually, before I do this, I'm going to take a punch somewhere. I've got a punch out here on my desk somewhere, or let's grab another one. I'm going to just put a punch in the center there, and I'll just give something my drill bit to kind of grab right away. So I'm just going to put a nice punch right there. And now the drill bit will set in there easier. And I'm just going to drill slow. I can tell right now it's not perfectly centered, but it's okay. Start there. And then we're going to move up in drill bit size, a couple sizes. You don't have to do super small steps. When you get to the bigger drill bits is when it gets harder and it really wants to bite that resin. If you watched my Punisher work in progress, you saw how I bit the resin and tore through and got my hand. So again, I'm just going to go slow with the drill kind of pull itself in. There. And once I get a rhythm down, this process actually goes pretty quick. The legs took me a little while because I had to think about what I want to do. But this overall, this kit's really relatively simple. It's just big. Again, I just let the drill bit kind of pull itself in, do the work. Now this is where, when I get these bigger bits, I am going in smaller increments. I'm not jumping like 2 or 3 sizes. There we go. I've got 2 more, and then we'll be at 1/2 inch. And then the big guy. I looked at getting even bigger magnets, like 3/4 inch, but I have to go buy a new drill bit, and that's just a lot. That's a huge magnet. That's probably too strong. Now we're at 1/2 inch. So just the drill bit kind of pulls itself in, and all right. So there's our first hole. And now see how deep this is. This may help. I may put 2 magnets in here. I don't know. So now it's a perfect fit. So basically, if I was to push this magnet in there, it might not come out. So I don't want to push it in all the way. So we're just gonna leave it for now. So now what I do, and I had to do this earlier because the resin is so smooth in there. I went in with an X-Acto blade and I just kind of scuffed up this bottom. I just put some hash marks in there. You guys can see that. Because my next step, I need this to be a little rough for my, I use blue tack to mark where the hole's supposed to be. Like that, and then I get some blue tack. You gotta warm it up, so knead it a little bit. Stick it in there. This video is really for Jackie, the guy I was talking about last night, who I wasn't sure if it was a guy or a girl. I asked him this. I was like, "Hey, I got a silly question." It's like, "Are you a guy or a girl?" Because his Facebook page, it goes by Kylie and Jackie O. So it's him and his wife. It's kind of Facebook page, and I was like, "Which one are you?" He's like, "Don't worry, you're not the first one to ask." So I felt kind of silly, but I sent pictures of the magnets this morning. And he's in the UK, so he's like 8 hours or 9 hours ahead of me. So he's either just now waking up or still sleeping. But he's like, "Oh, I have a lot of questions. Can I talk to you tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I figured I'd do a video, and that way I can kind of explain to him what I'm doing. So now you can see in there, I got this like thing of blue tack sticking out. So that tells me where that hole is supposed to be. Now, ideally, what I should have done is I should have marked that hole when it was smaller, and I always forget to do that. I should learn by now not to do that, because it's easier to find the center if the that little peg of blue tack is smaller. What do I keep doing my punches? Oh, they keep falling. That's what it is. So now what I do is I take my punch and I'm gonna try to get the center of that. And this is where, you know, it's not a precise, this, you know, you try to get as close as possible. Because you want those, like I said, you want those magnets to line up. So now I gotta, yeah, my camera's not focusing very well, but you can see, you can see my mark right there. So again, I'm gonna start with a smaller drill bit. And I'm gonna work my way up to 1/2 inch. And more than likely the holes won't be perfectly lined up, but that's okay, because that's, I got kind of a little bit of a trick to help with that. So again, I'm just gonna go in here, try to drill as straight as you can. Let the drill bit do the work. sizes. A couple more sizes. Making that hole a little bit bigger. Just doing kind of a slow process. Now we're going to do the big drill bits where it wants to really grab the resin and pull itself through. And then we're to 1/2 inch next. So my local hobby town started carrying magnets a little while ago, which is awesome because I typically order them off of K&J because I can get, you know, they're a little bit cheaper and I'm not paying tax on them. But I went and spent $100 on magnets today because I have this kit and the Punisher. I've been going through magnets like crazy. Okay, so now we have that hole and this hole. So now this is where we see if they line up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a stack of magnets, and this one will hold. Let's see. Go ahead. I think what I want to do. Yeah, if I push one in here, I'm gonna go ahead and push this in. Like I said, if I push this in there, I'm not gonna get it out, but it's not deep enough for two. So now that magnet's in there, and it's recessed just a little bit, which is, and the reason I do that, it helps it line up in the joint. It's a key, so it helps act as a key. So, you know, this magnet will want to go to that center. Boom, just like that. So now what I do, I was going to take that, and I think I made my hole big enough for 2 magnets. Yeah, pretty sure I did. So I'd rather spend a little extra money and use extra magnets. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave those 2 on there. If I can get the other ones off, these suckers are strong. So now basically these are the 2 that will end up in the joint. So now what's going to happen, I'm going to see if these line up, and if it lines up, they'll slide right in. So right now it's not lined up perfectly, I can tell, because it's not wanting to go right in. But I can get an idea of where it needs to go. So I have to make that hole a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do now is get my drill. And the hole that's in the torso, I'm going to wallow it out a little bit. I wish I had like one drill bit a little bit like one size up, because I wouldn't have to, I could just drill a bigger hole and it'd be done. I don't have a bigger drill bit, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make this hole a little bit bigger. And now it gives me some room to play. Hopefully that's enough. So now maybe you really can't tell, but it's a little bit bigger. I just kind of wallowed it out. And now this just slide in. So now it slides in perfectly, see? So now it's like boom. So now, how do you get those magnets in there? So here's my little trick. Take these off for a second. Get yourself some petroleum jelly, Vaseline, whatever. And what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to rub it all over this area. Basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to glue these into the torso, and you don't want to glue these pieces together. So we're going to give this a dose of petroleum jelly, and this will keep the CA from sticking to the resin. And then when you're done, you just clean it up with some alcohol. And this, you know, this kit's going to get a good scrubbing anyway when I'm done. So okay, I'm liberal with this stuff. You do not want to glue these together. So you put a nice dab there, like that. And I'm also going to put some Not in the hole, obviously, because I want glue to stick there just around this hole. So try not to get the petroleum jelly down into the hole where the magnets are going to go, because I'm going to fill that with glue. But I'm going to, oops, anywhere I don't want glue, I'm going to put some of this on there. All right, so now, oops, let's just, another thing about these magnets, they're so strong that anything that's close by, they will just automatically go to. So right now they're rolling all over my desk because of all my tools. They're wanting to go everywhere. It's pretty funny. Okay, I want to check something real quick. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, and this is another way to make sure that your polarity is always the same, we're going to go ahead and put these guys on here, just like that. I'm going to take, I've been using medium CA. Medium or thick is really what you'd want to use. You don't want to use thin, it's too soupy. You want something thick. I'm going here, I'm going to line this hole with a good dose of CA. And the petroleum jelly will keep anything that oozes out from sticking. So I can just put a drop in there I don't want. So if any glue happens to ooze out from this process, the petroleum jelly will keep the pieces from sticking. And then what I do is I take a Q-tip and I go in there and I just spread around the CA. I want to make sure it's all around the walls and everything. Okay, just like that. Now I'm not going to use any zip kick or anything because I don't want to beat. I don't want to have to, rush to get this in there. And I'm seeing a little couple of drops of glue I get around the edges. I'm going to take them off, even though I have the petroleum jelly. So now I'm going to slide this in there. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a clamp. I'm just going to clamp this arm. I'm not going to clamp it real hard, just lightly into place. Actually, I'm not going to do that because I want to pull it. I'm just going to kind of, there goes the magnet. I'm just going to push this into place and just hold it, for while that glue sets up a little bit. Shouldn't take too long, 30, 45 seconds maybe. So when I'm done with all this, the arms will come off and the legs will come off. Obviously the cape will come off. The head will come off, and the hands, I'm debating whether I should just pin those and glue them in permanently at one point. I think I might just do that. I'll just glue the hands on at the end. But again, looking at this kit, I've been kind of messing with it today. It's phenomenal. It's just like the Captain America. I can't say enough about it. It's really, really nice. I guess there's a company in China called Onage that these guys use for their 3D prints, and I guess they're the guys that go to have this stuff done. And I was chatting with someone the other night about, man, where do they get this stuff printed, because it's huge. And he mentioned the company Onage, and basically one reason these kits are so expensive, so like he'd mentioned, like probably the initial print for this Thor was probably more than $10,000 for the master print. So yeah, so you pay the sculptor for the digital sculpt, then you have to pay for the print, which could be $10,000 or more, and then you got to obviously get it casted and stuff. So all right, that should be set up. Let's see if it comes out. Yep. So now we got magnets down in there, magnets there. Lines up perfectly. So now what I'm going to do, just to make sure I've got that glued in there well, I'm going to clean up the inside a little bit with some alcohol. Get rid of the petroleum jelly. I'm just going to do that off camera real quick. Paper towel with some alcohol. So I'm going to put some more CA in around those magnets. I want to make sure they're really good. Actually, if I can just do, you get some more alcohol, I'm almost out. I'm just gonna go in here and clean out this petroleum jelly. As much as possible. This obviously won't get it all out right now. It will when I do my final cleaning before I do any primer. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in here and I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in any void with some CA. This one's got a tip on it, so I'm gonna use one with the tip. So that's how I've been magnetizing this guy. That's the process. I'm just cleaning up any excess glue as I go. Try to make it neat if you can. I mean, it's gonna get paint and everything, but you know, it's always nice to have a neat presentation. So just do some zip kick here and there. So Jackie, if you watch this is how I did it, man. Not too difficult. Like I said, the legs were kind of like my experiment, so that's why they're a little messier. You can tell this one turned out nicer, a little cleaner looking. And it doesn't hurt that I didn't get the polarity wrong like I did on the last leg. So, boom. Done. Oop, that's the wrong leg. Boom. Boom. There you go. I'll do the other arm tonight, and I'll probably call it done for the night. But so this will be work in progress 1 on the Thor. Just adding magnets to him, and he's looking pretty good. Impressive piece for sure. So hopefully you guys learned something, and as always, thanks for looking. This is Matt Mrozik, aka MVM3897, signing off. Catch you guys next time. Bye.